The null graveyard. The stars went wrong first. Not dim, not distant, wrong. They stretched like smeared paint across the void, their light arriving out of order, colors bleeding into one another, as if the universe had forgotten which rules applied here. Navigation markers stuttered, rewrote themselves, then gave up entirely. Jarek felt it in his teeth. The black ship crossed the boundary without ceremony. Nenolgal RVRDMIR SCANOVRX local PHYSSD debated. COSL Ivans TBI. Rhea gripped the console harder than necessary. I hate this place. Jarek raised an eyebrow. You've been here before. I've survived it, she said. That's not the same thing. Outside the viewport, shapes drifted. Massive silhouettes tumbling slowly through fractured space, ship hulls, city-scale constructs, things that might once have been weapons or gods or ideas given metal skin, all dead, all abandoned. This is where black ships come to fail, Jarek said quietly. Yes, Rhea replied, and where disruptors go to find out whether they were ever special or just lucky. The black ship slowed, not because it needed to, because something ahead demanded acknowledgement. A grave marker formed in space, no physical object, just a region where probability collapsed inward like a scar. Within it floated the remains of a black ship, or what was left of one. Its hull was split open, geometry unraveled, insides exposed to nothing, no lights, no hum, no presence. Jarek felt a chill. That thing looks empty. The black ship responded. Einden Chidascientrnal Rhea's voice dropped. A disruptor stayed too long. Jarek swallowed. And the ship? It lost the argument. They drifted past the corpse. Something watched them from inside it. Not alive, not aware. Residual. Jarek's augmented arm twitched, flooding him with fragmented data. Echoes of decisions, screams without sound, calculations that ended mid-thought. He gasped and stumbled. Rhea caught him. Don't look too hard. The graveyard looks back. Too late. Jarek saw it, not with eyes, with alignment. Moments layered atop each other. A disruptor standing where Jarek stood now, insisting he could handle more. The ship warning him, ignoring it, pushing deeper, becoming louder. Then silence. Jarek tore himself free, breathing hard. That's my future if I screw this up. Rhea didn't lie. Yes, the black ship spoke again. Sties test taston ifinzidi ochan and tau alaran csmt. Space folded. The graveyard responded. From the wreckage, movement began. Broken ships shifted course, not propelled, not controlled, but attracted. Their paths bent subtly toward the black ship, debris fields aligning like iron filings around a magnet. Jarek frowned. That's not gravity. No, Rhea said. That's narrative pressure. The first impact rattled the hull. Then another. Then dozens. The black ship didn't dodge. It endured. Inside Jarek's mind, numbers spiked. Antigradian ladi resin, his vision blurred. He tasted copper. What's the test? Jarek growled. Rhea's expression was grim. Whether you break before the ship does. A massive wreck loomed ahead, kilometers long, bristling with weapon scars and unfinished repairs. Symbols etched into its hull flickered faintly, older than any known language. Jarek stared. That thing feels confirmed. Ramayas of Giodi Silas Myaf Arfrea am detated. Sti uasto armi mestomaying listening. Jarek felt a presence stir, ancient, curious, offended by motion in its grave. Behind it, probability rippled. The man's voice brushed the edge of Jarek's awareness, amused. You chose a beautiful place to grow, it said. This is where I learned to stop asking permission. Jarek clenched his jaw. You're early. I'm patient, the voice replied, but not absent. Rhea stiffened. He's closer. Yes, Jarek said softly, and he's not here to fight. The god frame's eyes, if that word applied. The graveyard shifted again. Mar Meng, the black ship intoned. Menaltai, vi skyto ar imestatai. Desutoar jarkolaisis fosal point. Jarek straightened, pain screaming through every nerve. Then let's stop pretending, he said. If this place tests what we can handle. He looked out at the dead gods, broken ships, and collapsing laws. Let's see what happens when I answer back. The augmented arm unfolded fully, geometry blazing dark and precise. The graveyard listened. Far away, something smiled wider. And the black ship, for the first time since entering the Knoll graveyard, did not calculate an exit path. When the dead speak, the first thing that broke was silence. Not sound, this place never respected sound, but stillness. The Knoll graveyard had always been a waiting place, a museum of failures suspended between decisions. Now it stirred, slow and deliberate, like something ancient rolling over in its sleep. The god frame moved. Kilometers of dead metal shifted with impossible grace, fractured armor plates sliding aside as internal structures, once meant to house ideas too large for flesh, reactivated. Symbols along its hull burned brighter, rearranging themselves into patterns Jarek didn't recognize but somehow understood. Judgment. Rhea grabbed his shoulder. "Jarek, I know," he hissed. "I feel it too." The pressure wasn't physical. It was existential, like the universe had leaned closer to inspect a flaw in its own work. The black ship spoke, its tone sharpened. "Guram awareness ras ng amendiogeny cal poient." "Too late for that," Jarek muttered. The god frame's attention locked onto him fully. Not the ship. Not Rhea. Him. The augmented arm burned. Geometry flared outward, unfolding faster than safety limits allowed, interfaces blooming across Jarek's nervous system like invasive roots. He screamed. Data, not information, not language meaning poured into him. Battles fought before stars had names. Laws written, broken, rewritten, then abandoned. The moment this god, frame had realized obedience was just another kind of cage. And the moment it had been killed for it. Jarek dropped to one knee. Rhea shouted, "Black ship, cut the feed!" Negatiai, the ship replied, Desiaptiar stiatr facee. The god, frame, spoke. Not aloud, "You live," it said, its voice layered with static and reverence. "Why?" Jarek swallowed blood and forced himself upright. "Because I didn't stop trying." The graveyard trembled. Debris fields shifted, broken ships rotating slowly to face him as if drawn by gravity that didn't exist. Others came, the god frame continued. They begged, they commanded, they broke. Jarek met its gaze, if that burning core could be called a gaze. "I'm not here to rule you," he said, "and I'm not here to wake you up." A pause. Then why are you loud, little disruptor? Behind Jarek, Rhea froze. The man's presence surged, closer now, sharper, threaded through probability like a blade sliding between ribs. "Yes," the voice murmured approvingly. "Why are you?" Jarek closed his eyes. For the first time since boarding the black ship, he stopped reacting. Stopped surviving, he chose. "I'm loud," he said slowly, "'cause silence didn't save anyone." Images flared, Lena under the beam, the transport tearing itself apart. 59 lives escaping because he refused to accept acceptable losses. The god frame's light intensified. Answering back, it said, "You remind me of myself. That's what scares everyone," Jarek replied. "Including me." The graveyard shifted again, but this time not toward collapse, toward balance. The god frame's massive form settled, awareness stabilizing instead of escalating. Rhea exhaled shakily. "Jarek, it's listening." The black ship spoke, recalculating furiously. "Staris parametars estabilizing, outamanan tarmanal." Then the god frame did something no one expected. It withdrew. Not shutting down, not fully, but lowering itself, its awareness folding inward like a vast mind choosing to sleep rather than rage. "You are unfinished," it told Jarek. As I was. The weight lifted. Jarek collapsed forward, barely catching himself on the deck as the interface powered down to survivable levels. His entire body shook. Rhea was beside him instantly. "You did it. You didn't dominate it. You didn't submit." Jarek laughed weakly. "Didn't even know those were options." The man's voice returned, closer than ever, no longer echoing, but intimate. "That's why you're interesting," it said. "You didn't choose a side." Jarek looked up, eyes burning. "You did." A chuckle rippled through probability. "Yes," the man admitted. "And look how far it took me." The space ahead of the ship folded. He appeared. Not physically, not entirely, but enough. A human silhouette formed in the void before the viewport, features indistinct, edges unstable, like a thought refusing to stay imagined. Reality bent toward him in subtle deference. Rhea backed away from the glass. That's impossible. He's not aboard. He doesn't need to be, Jarek said. The man inclined his head toward the god frame. You found a teacher, he said. I found a grave. His attention returned to Jarek. You could have taken it, he continued. Claimed authority. Forced it awake. I don't want authority, Jarek replied. I want choice. The man smiled, genuinely, almost sadly. So did I, he said. Once. The black ship's alarms flared not in panic but warning. AX star FEXRT9 NFL UNCE Babodarbri A by Eminent. Rhea looked between Jarek and the apparition. He's pushing. Yes, Jarek said, but not to break in. The man nodded. Not yet. The graveyard reacted one last time. The god frame symbols flared briefly, then imprinted themselves onto Jarek's interface, not as commands, not as weapons, but as constraints, limits. Anchors. The black ship absorbed the change instantly. NEWAMATARS DT. Desapaptars Tebaivama 7 Jarek gasped as the pressure inside him eased, not gone, but contained. Rhea stared. Helped you. The god frame spoke once more, quieter now. Do not become him, it warned, its attention flicking toward the silhouette, or become me. Then it slept. The graveyard settled. The broken ships drifted aimlessly again, interest fading, judgment passed. The man regarded Jarek for a long moment. You've taken your first step away from me, he said. That's good. Then why do you look pleased? Jarek asked. The smile sharpened. Because now, the man replied, you're something the ships can't predict. The silhouette unraveled, retreating into probability, his presence thinning but not gone. Run faster, his voice whispered. I want to see how far you get. Silence returned. Real silence this time. Jarek slumped against the console, exhausted beyond words. Rhea stared at him like she was seeing him for the first time. You just survived a god, a graveyard, and a disruptor apex predator. He wiped his face. Don't phrase it like that. The black ship spoke, tone altered subtly, but unmistakably. Stiras tiest kim pt. Passus gulhinanamanias. Rhea barked a laugh, of course. Jarek looked out at the null graveyard, at the sleeping god frame, at the wrecks that had once thought themselves eternal. He's not done with us, Jarek said. No, Rhea agreed. But now he's not sure how to finish you. The black ship turned, aligning with an exit corridor that hadn't existed before. So RSEADJ usted. Nenext Pirhaskar Ioan. Jarek straightened slowly, feeling the new limits humming inside him, edges he could push against without tearing himself apart. Good, he said quietly, because somewhere out there, something that had once been human was still watching. And now, for the first time, it didn't know what Jarek Holt was going to do next.